Welcome back to AKC Style, the place for figure skaters who want to learn how to skate their hearts out, compete at their highest potential, and spend as much time practicing their inner work as they spend physically training on the ice. Let's get started. Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to AKC Style. I haven't decided if this is going to be a podcast or if one day I'll make it a video series or whatnot. I'm not sure, but either way, welcome back and thanks again for tuning in. Today we're going to talk about fear. We're going to talk about all the different layers of what it takes to get on the ice as well. And I'm going to start by talking about something that I posted a lot about last year in 2023. And this year, I've been really thinking about things a little differently. I don't regret posting about this, but it is something that I think is just a little bit deeper than what I initially was talking about. So I used to talk a lot about building fearless confidence and how me as a coach, I help skaters build fearless confidence and get on the ice and, you know, be able to take risks and do jumps and spins and like all these things and do competitions. But I think it's just like a little deeper than that. That seems to me now, like reflecting back, that that's like very surface level. And actually what I do as a coach is a lot deeper than that. It's a lot more nuanced. So I really feel like when you're a figure skater, it's less about being fearless because it is scary to skate. Whether you're starting from zero, where you just don't know anything about skating and you've never even put on a pair of skates, let alone stepped on the ice, or maybe you've gone out a couple times and it was super scary, all the way through a competitive skater who has a lot of experience in solo programs, maybe on team skating, understands the time and the dedication, the energy and the effort and the commitment that it takes to get to that certain level. You have to be brave. And it is normal to feel fear when you're getting on the ice. And I think that at some point, like, you expect that fear is going to go away. But the fact that you're in this sport that is risky means that you do feel fear. You feel a little bit of fear when you're trying a new move, a new skill that you're learning, because there's always the risk of falling, right? You could fall, you could get a bruise, you could get a sprain, you could break a bone. It is risky. Even if you're just getting on the ice stroking, like, you can hurt yourself. You can hurt yourself doing edges. So there is just like that base level of risk that elicits fear anytime you get on the ice. But what sets somebody apart who's overtaken by fear versus somebody who overcomes it is the fact that they've worked out their bravery muscle. And your bravery muscle, for me, this is something that, like, this is the best way for me to describe it as an athlete. You train, your muscles get stronger, get bigger. Maybe you start by lifting a 1 pound or 2 pound weight, and then in a month or so you're able to lift like an 8 or 10 pound weight, and then you increase from there, right? So I feel like building bravery and building your tolerance for risk is similar to that. It's a muscle that you have to exercise, and it does grow the more that you get on the ice and the longer that you figure skate. When you build up your bravery muscle, you're building up your tolerance for pain, you're building up your tolerance for fear, you're building up your tolerance for comparison with you and other people that you're on the ice with, or even people that you don't see but you just kind of like imagine in your head. You build up your tolerance for criticism and judgment, and you're really trying to exercise that muscle every time you get on the ice. And it's inherent. A lot of times you're not even thinking about it. It's just what happens, because the more that you skate, the better you get. The more times you get on the ice, the better your skills get. That's just how it works. Like, it goes together. You grow together. Your ability, your skill, and your time, and your effort, and your energy all have an upward trajectory the more that you do it. The less that you skate, the less confident you feel. When you feel less confident, You're afraid to take risks. You're afraid to try different jumps. You're afraid to try different spins. You feel like maybe you're not good enough. So then your confidence and your self-esteem goes down and your belief in yourself changes. And usually it changes for the negative. But the more that you skate, the more used to feeling like embarrassed or silly or falling, that stuff doesn't seem to bother you as much because you just know like that's part of the deal, right? So like that is your bravery muscle. So, fear is something that for me personally never really goes away with skating. There are still some skills like my axel that I am actually fearful of trying, but I want to be able to overcome that fear because I do want to try that jump again. But I had some scary falls when it came to doing my axel. I had 2 concussions from doing my axel. And that jump, actually, literally, the way that the jump is structured, you are jumping into the jump. Like you're in a forward outside edge getting up into that jump. It's one of the only jumps that you're actually looking into. So for me, when I go into my axel, I think of all the crazy falls and all the pains and the bruises and the concussions that I had from doing this, and it is something that stops me. But even though I'm an adult, I do want to overcome that fear, and I do want one day to be able to build that bravery muscle up enough to even attempt my axel again. I don't know if it'll happen, but I don't know. I have to do some more mindset stuff around that and like get a little bit stronger physically to be able to feel like I can even attempt 1.5 rotations in the air. And land comfortably, not being afraid. So that's like a whole nother trail off on this podcast to talk about the axel and like the fear of jumping. Maybe we can talk about that next, but I think that that's just something I kind of wanted to put out there because I know that there's a lot of skaters who feel like, okay, when I get to this certain level, I won't be afraid to try certain things. Or, when I get to this certain amount of time that I've been skating on the ice, everything will start to click and then magically I'm going to be an amazing skater. Or maybe if I get like a certain number of competitions under my belt and a certain number of tests under my belt, or I reach a certain testing level, then I'll be considered a good skater. Or, they wrap their worth in medals, they wrap their worth in test levels, they wrap their worth up in so many things that don't matter. And I think I can have that insight now, having skated so long and now being a coach as well. So it's just something that I want to talk about today. So with all this talk about building up your bravery muscle, it leads me to why I decided to create this program, Skate Full Out. And a lot of it has to do with me personally and my story, which I'll share in the next video, but I also know that it's something that a lot of skaters can benefit from, and I see it with even some skaters at my rank who would need something like this. You can think in your head that, I have the tools, I know, like my coach is teaching me the jumps and the spins, and like I have these programs I'm really training for, but then when it comes time to actually perform them in competition or in an exhibition, you're just full of anxiety. You're full of fear. You feel like you want to break down and cry. You're scared, like actually scared. Your body is shaking. And, with time, you start to overcome that. But for me personally, that is something that I developed. That fear of competing is something I developed into my, long into my competition career. I wasn't always like that. So I created Skate Full Out with this perspective and knowing that I can help skaters overcome this. So if it's something that you're interested in learning more about, you can go to my website, akcstyle.com, and you can see there in the menu to go to Skate Full Out. I'll put the exact link to my wait list for this program in the description box, but you can visit akcstyle.com to learn more about how I can help you overcome your fear of competing and skating in general.
Thanks so much for listening today. If you found this episode helpful, let me know in the comments, and be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. This helps other figure skaters discover my channel and also helps me decide what topics I should share with you next. Have fun out there, and I'll see you at the rink.